Good afternoon and welcome back to the Camp Nou, where at this point we also welcome our viewers from YouTube to this live presentation of Emerson Royal, our fourth signing so far of the summer after having welcomed Eric García, Kun Agüero and Memphis. I'm joined by Robert from Eckhout, and Robert, we already had the chance to talk to Emerson himself and already see him in the flesh and get to know him a little bit.
Those of you who were watching on Barça TV Plus witnessed that interview with Diego and Emerson. He seems like a very nice chap. He talked in depth about how he's improved over the last 2 years, how important those 2 seasons at Real Betis have been for him. He talked a little bit about his roots and how important that is for him. And one of the sentences that he said was that for him to arrive at Ciutat Esportiva Joan Gamper this morning for his first training session felt like a victory.
Exactly. He already had, of course, those 2.5 years to get climatized and used to the Spanish league. But he mentioned that, well, being here for Barça is an absolute dream come true, as you can imagine. Coming from the favelas that he holds very dear to his heart. He visits it quite frequently to inspire the youngsters. And
during the pandemic, he sent back packages of food as well for underprivileged children. So he's very involved in with his roots, and today is his special day here at Barcelona.
Exactly.
It's as he said, a victory for him, but it's not the end line. There's still a lot more to come for Emerson Royal. We want to see him succeed here at Football Club Barcelona. This is his big day. He underwent his medical tests earlier this morning, and we're going to see all of the usual stuff here at Camp Nou.
Exactly.
First, he'll be signing his contract next to President Joan Laporta in the presidential area. Then we'll see him proceed to get changed into his Barça clothes and jump onto the pitch for his first touches of the ball. We'll see.
Are we going to see him juggle?
I don't know if we'll see him juggle, because we didn't see El Kun and Eric. I'm not sure with Memphis because I was away. Did he juggle?
A little bit.
He did juggle. Oh, yes. No, I've seen it. It's true. It's just come to my mind. And then, of course, we'll listen to him and President Joan Laporta in the press conference. There they are, right now, in the presidential area. Emerson Royal and Joan Laporta, our president, to sign the contract for Emerson to officially become a Football Club Barcelona player. You were saying, Diego, our fourth signing this season.
Yeah, it's going to be a special moment, of course, for the youngster. This is our fourth signing as well, of course, coming for free. So important to pick up these massive talents around the world that are coming here for free, given the current, of course, financial situation being what it is. Well, it's important to pick up not just any players, but these very, very talented players indeed.
Exactly, and just for those who don't know, this is a player who Barca picked up back in 2019. In January 2019, there was a deal done with his club Atlético Mineiro, and it was a 3-part deal.
Exactly.
It was Barça and Betis coming together to bring the player to La Liga. Betis would have him on loan for a certain period, which ended up being 2.5 seasons. And then the decision was made this summer for him to become a Football Club Barcelona player.
Robert, you know I like to put you on the spot with these certain things, but being that encyclopedia that you are, the Barça encyclopedia.
I'm a bit rusty because I've been away for a month, so...
All right, I'll take it easy on you, but do you know if this is the first time that this sort of deal, the 3-way deal between 2 teams was done?
I mean, in Barça history, I can't think of another. I wouldn't, like, no pondría la mano en el fuego, pero I'm not sure. I can't think of one. I'm sure that for other clubs it's definitely been done in some sort of way. But it is an interesting way.
Certainly was interesting, yeah, because I mean, I had to look at it from different angles to sort of wrap my head around it and understand it, and I understood that Barça, of course, also still had certain percentage options if Betis were to sell them on, and Barça didn't want to bring them in. But seeing the 2 seasons, or 2.5 seasons, as you said, that he's had at Betis, it was only obvious to bring this player over to Barça.
Well, exactly. I think in this particular case, it's a signing that worked to perfection.
Yeah.
Because it gave him those 2.5 seasons of experience at a club that was competing to be in European positions at the end of the season. They managed to do that at the end of this last season under Manuel Pellegrini. They came 6th. He played for a competitive side. He's played for 3 different coaches with 3 different styles, Quique Setién, Rubi, and Manuel Pellegrini. He's managed to get himself called up into the Brazilian national squad for Copa America, which is a huge achievement as well, taking into account all the the great quality defenders that.
And keep in mind, he made his debut for the Brazilian squad in 2019.
Exactly.
So
he hadn't been called up since.
Yeah,
he hadn't been called up since, because I think he's played four games for Brazil, 3 of them being in the Copa America, 1 of them few minutes in the end of that final against Argentina. So there he is next to President Joan Laporta, pen in hand, and they're going to be making it official.
Special moment, of course. I always wonder, is this symbolic or is this the official signing of the contract?
I think this is the symbolic part. I think the official business gets done in los despachos, as they say, in
the offices.
In the offices, and this is just for show. But nonetheless, it's the moment that gets broadcast, and the one that remains there forever. We'll see after this signing of the contract if they pose with Emerson's new Barça jersey. That's what's been done traditionally, and we'll confirm what is most likely, that the name printed on the back of it will be E. Royal. That's a very interesting story behind that.
Yes.
Because
Royal, our viewers, yes.
Royal is not his surname.
Exactly.
His name is Emerson Aparecido Leite de Souza Jr.
Okay.
That won't appear on his on the back of his shirt. It's going to be Emerson Royal, and from what I've been gathering, reading, it's on fcbarcelona.com, so this is all confirmed. The reason why he likes to be called Royal is because when he was a young boy, he used to cry a lot. He used to get upset a lot. And his aunt told him that he looked like a boy who was in a commercial for a brand of jelly called Royal. This would wind him up even more. And the aunt would call him Royal Royal just to wind him up. He took to the name in the end, I imagine, and it's become important to him. It's become symbolic for him. He has it near to his heart, and that's what he likes to be called. So
that's his football name now.
E. Royal will be what he has on the back of his jersey. We can call him Emerson Royal.
Exactly, exactly. It's,
I think it's important for us as well as journalists to call the players how they like to be called as well, because we've had the same issue with Memphis as well. Exactly. He wants to be called Memphis, we'll call him Memphis.
Exactly. We're not going to kick up a fuss with these kind of things. In fact, in the case of Emerson, it's a very funny anecdote and interesting story indeed. And you can see him there with a big grin on his face. No tears rolling down Emerson's face any longer, I can assure you that. In fact, from our interview as well that we had just moments ago, we can also attest that he is un tío alegre. He's a very happy guy, isn't he?
He's true to his Brazilian roots.
Exactly.
I read a quote about him. There it is. E. Royal on that 21-22 Barça kit, which I'm still getting used to, Diego. I'll get used to it in the end. I mean, the eye test is still... just getting used to it.
I was talking with Mai about that on the day we presented Memphis. I've actually gotten used to that now.
Already?
Seeing the players, seeing the players wear it. It's different when you see it in the stores or somebody holding it. But when you see the player wear it, I've grown very fond of it actually.
It's a different red as well, isn't it? It's a brighter shade of red. That's what I think. That's what my eyes are getting. What they're struggling
so it's not the
to assimilate
necessarily.
No, I don't, because like. Once you watch the game from afar, from like when we watch it on television, you can't really see the pattern, can you? So I think what I'm struggling with the most is the brighter tones of red and blue as well.
Okay.
That we see on the shirt.
Well, there we see him, Emerson,
with his
alongside of alongside Joan Laporta, and what I imagine is his family. I imagine that is his father on our right-hand side.
You were saying, you actually asked him after the interview as well. Do you want to tell the anecdote, because for those who weren't watching on Barça TV Plus?
Well, yeah, it was quite funny because I read an interesting or a fun fact, you could call it, I guess, that Joaquin, the Betis legend, who of course he played alongside with during his time over at Betis, is actually older than his father by a month.
Yes. And they used to joke about it.
Yeah. Apparently Joaquin gave him quite a lot of stick for that, saying that he could be his father. But I mean, it's an interesting fact, that for sure. If that is his dad, it looks like
by the way he described him, I think the man who just came across the screen was his dad, who would turn out to be 40, 41, I imagine, because that's the age of Joaquin. I think Joaquin turned 40 this year, if I'm not mistaken. So an interesting anecdote there. And there are the representatives of Barca's board of directors also posing for the photograph. Some of them with the team in Germany. Let's not forget that the big chunk of our team, or big part of our team, is in Germany in that pre-season. I wouldn't call it a tour necessarily. I'd call it like, what do you call it?
A mini stage.
Mini stage away from Barcelona. I think they must be enjoying the milder weather conditions that they're getting in Germany. I saw footage of the training session earlier on this morning, and it definitely looked a lot cooler than it does here in Barcelona. It's nice afternoon.
Today's good.
I was worried because I've been in the UK for a month, in rainy old England, and I wasn't sure how I was going to react to the heat here in Barcelona, but so far so good here.
Well, up north it's been raining buckets. I hear from my family over in Holland. It's been non-stop rain this entire summer, so they could use some of this sunshine that we're enjoying. Although today, the heavens are taking it easy on us.
They are.
It's not like the day where we had to present
nice,
Eric García.
Nice afternoon. Yes, we suffered that day, didn't we?
That day was quite sufferable. But again, Memphis, alongside of President Joan Laporta, taking his time to, of course, pose with his new shirt for Fútbol Club Barcelona. What a moment it is for this youngster. And
always a special moment. And I think for Brazilians, with that appreciation they have for football, obviously coming from another continent as well, I think there's something even more special because Barça has a great tradition of Brazilians here. We've had the likes of Romario, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Neymar, Dani Alves, of course, who Emerson was speaking of.
Reference point.
He was his reference point. If he performs to the standard of Dani Alves, I'll be very happy.
We'll take that.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Dani Alves, I'd say the most successful right back in club history.
Has to be. I mean, one of the best in the history of the game. I would even go so far to say
playing
that.
In the Olympics.
Yeah, playing in the Olympics. Right, exactly. And I think, you know, the history between Brazilians and Barça can be compared to maybe the Dutch players and Barça as well. I don't know.
More or less. Yes.
Have there been more Brazilians than Dutch players?
Oh, I mean, you're putting me on the spot there, but I would say there've been a few more Dutch.
It's 22 in total.
22 Brazilians?
No, Dutch players.
Oh. No, I think there've been fewer Brazilians. I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, I could try and list. I mean, there were a few, like in the 70s, a couple who didn't play much. Then there was, of course, Aloisio. In the 90s, we had Romario. We also had Ronaldo. And Giovanni Silva then. Rivaldo came in, Sonny Anderson. Giovanni and Fabio Rochenbach, then the likes of Ronaldinho. I'm skipping a few, I'm sure. Obviously, Edmilson, Belletti, the hero of Paris, Dani Alves, Adriano. No, well, maybe it's on a par. I think maybe there have been a few more Brazilians than Dutch players. And that's surprising to me for some reason now.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know, we'll have to double check to make sure. In fact, for those viewing, if you want to put the right answer into the comments, make sure you do that, of course. As well, for our viewers on YouTube, in case you haven't already, why don't you take this moment to sign up to Barça TV Plus, because the preseason has been absolutely fantastic.
Yes. And it's still ongoing.
And it's still ongoing as well. We're just halfway there. There's still, a little bit over halfway now. Half the preseason is gone. We've played against Nastic de Tarragona, Girona, and Stuttgart as well, but there's still that big game against Red Bull Salzburg, and of course, that massive and historic, can we call it, Joan Gamper, because it's a double header.
It's a double header on Sunday. Yeah. Yes, we've got lots of action coming up this week. Today, of course, the official presentation of EMERSON Royal. Then on Wednesday, live, exclusive to Barça TV Plus, the game against Red Bull Salzburg. And on Sunday, as you say, double header. The women's game first, earlier on in the afternoon at 5:30 we start on Sunday.
Yep.
And we'll go all the way through to the end of the men's game, both of them against Juve, men and women's. We'll see the official presentation of both teams as well.
That's always a special day.
It's always special.
This year, it won't be in the Camp Nou. It's officially been announced that those two games will be played in the Johan Cruyff Stadium, but those games are always very special. Of course, as Robert mentioned, it's the official presentation of the team. There's fireworks, there's families in the stands. And
there'll be fans in the stands.
There will be fans.
There will be fans. We've been going back and forth with this, but to this day, there'll be fans.
Exactly.
I mean, might change tomorrow.
Well, let's hope not.
Let's
not
not
jinx anything.
Let's
But
not jinx
right
anything,
now,
but
it's been confirmed that there will be at least 3,000 fans, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
So it's a great day, and of course, you can follow all of that live right here on Barça TV Plus. So again, use the link in the description below to sign up to Barça TV Plus, because this entire year we've got some very special content coming to you. With regards to today, there's still a whole lot more coming. We just saw Emerson sign his new contract. He's now officially a Barça player, and he's now making his way down the labyrinth that is the Camp Nou.
It is a labyrinth.
Easily get lost.
It took us a while to get here, to this position. So.
It always does. I always have to find, we have to find our way. But he's making his way down to the dressing room to put on that special Barça kit for the very first time, and then take to the field, the Camp Nou, that is right now is empty. Again, unfortunately empty, because also these days are normally the stadium is packed with fans to welcome the
It's what
new
we've been
arrivals.
missing this year from the presentations we saw with
El
Kun, with Eric, with Memphis. No fans. It takes some of the fun away from it, obviously. And I'm sure, for example, for the Memphis one, we saw him do several tricks with the ball. Look, we're having a look at the presentations now. First it was El Kun Agüero, then Eric, then Memphis, and we'll see some of those tricks he was doing. That would have made the fans roar. This feels like so long ago, Diego. The footage of El Kun Agüero.
Beginning of the summer,
was back in mid-June, wasn't it, before he went to Copa America?
That's right, of course. Yeah, exactly. He had just arrived. He was just about to head out with his Argentina side to partake in a Copa America that he ended up winning as well. Finally, Argentina managing to get hold of the Copa America. And then next, well, it was you and me here in the Camp Nou presenting the return of the prodigal son, Eric García.
Eric García, who also joined in the month of June, or was it early July? I can't remember now. I think it was June. It was June. Definitely,
June,
because he had to go to the Euros. He had to go to the Euros,
of course, exactly.
Exactly. We saw him perform well at the Euros. He picked up a minor injury in one of the games, but that didn't impede him from going to the Olympics as well. That's where he is right now, competing alongside our youngster Pedri.
That's right.
And
Mingueza, of course.
And Mingueza, of course.
We hope for a speedy recovery in his case. And here was the arrival of Dutch superstar Memphis Depay. Also,
who, by the way, has been very impressive in this preseason.
Absolutely, Robert. Absolutely. He's been on fire. I mean, he started out that first game against Girona already electric. In the first minute, he made sure to test the Girona goalkeeper, and eventually getting his goal as well from the penalty spot. A goal that obviously wasn't as impressive as a goal he just scored against Salzburg. Did you get a chance to see that little lob to himself, and then just blasted into the back of the net? I mean,
and just as impressed with the second goal as well, when he backheels it to Griezmann, who then puts the cross in for Demir.
Great awareness.
So we've seen great little bits of skill there from Memphis, and as the squad stands at the moment, it's going to be a highly competed top three there in the attacking positions, with El Kun Agüero, with Antoine Griezmann, with Memphis Depay as well. We're hoping for Ansu Fati to recover as well, of course, Lionel Messi. And here's footage of the last game that Barca played in the preseason, and that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about, that goal.
That's that goal right there after the 20-minute mark, breaking the deadlock, 1-0 for Barca. A beautiful bit of individual play, but also great eyes from, of course, Frenkie de Jong to spot one of the many runs that he made. I got a chance to comment the game against Girona with Andrea Orlandi, and we were laughing at some point just how many times he was making those runs.
That Dutch connection is definitely something worth keeping an eye on this season, and that's the touch I was talking about here, back heel pass for the oncoming run of Antoine Griezmann.
Yes. It's not exact. I mean, it looks back heel, but it's actually a flick.
It's essentially a flick. True.
In the moment, I thought it was a back heel as well, but it's actually a nifty little flick to Antoine. Again, great awareness by the Dutchman to find his now teammate Antoine Griezmann, and well, this goal, or this near goal, I should say, by I think it was Riqui Puig.
It was Riqui Puig, and then he got his prize at the end by scoring here in transition.
Finding Antoine Griezmann, who then gives it to Riqui Puig for the one-touch goal. A little bit of luck with a deflection on the post, but a much-deserved goal, because also Riqui Puig has been fantastic so far this preseason.
You can call it luck, or you can call it a very accurate finish there, just where it needed to go to beat the keeper. So,
hitting the post twice, though. Go rolling over the line.
No,
This was a near goal by Rey Manage. Of course, he had just come onto the field. Another Barça B player has been on fire.
He's been on,
4 goals
on
in 2 games, nearly 5 and 3. So yeah.
He scored a hat-trick in his first game, then he scored before having to leave the field early in the Girona game. He scored as well. That's when Memphis Depay came on early. Earlier than expected, I'd say.
Much earlier than expected. I mean, Koeman hardly even gave him time to warm up. He came on that quickly, mainly because the fans in the stands were lo estaban aclamando. They were calling for him. We could hear the Memphis ringing around the stadium, and he finally came on and had an immediate impact. But just on the topic of Rey Manay as well, what a start to the season he's been having, and one of those players that is also, I mean, knocking on the doors of the first team.
Exactly. We've it always happens in pre-season. It always happens in pre-seasons, and it's very difficult to draw conclusions from these pre-season games because, of course, we don't have our full squad out there. We don't have some of the players who will more than likely be starting games. But it's a great opportunity for youngsters, for players from the B team who are called up, such as Rey Manay, such as Yusuf Demir, who's been signed this season, will be kind of jumping up and down in between Barça B and first team, and of course some of the youngsters. We can't count Ricky Puig anymore because he's a first-team player. But he didn't have very many minutes last season, and he's been taking advantage of the opportunities he's getting in this pre-season. And of course, you were mentioning Gavi, Nico, Comas as well in defense. Balde as well, of course, playing in that left fullback position. He'll be knocking on the door as well. He's been said to be Jordi Alba's replacement in case Jordi Alba, or whenever Jordi Alba has to rest, of course. I'm not saying that Jordi Alba is leaving. No.
We understand.
I don't want that to be the conclusion that everyone draws from what I just said. No. Just the player who's going to be behind Jordi Alba. Or it might be Serginho Dest as well, who, as we were saying before, has been playing in the left full-back position. I think Koeman wants to give it all a try before we get started.
Well, he's a player that, in fact, is so used to playing in both positions. It's a little bit similar. I would compare him to Dembélé in the sense that Dembélé doesn't know if he's right-footed or left-footed. When I spoke to Serginho Dest, he said, I asked him, do you have a preference on which side you play? And he said, absolutely not. I'm comfortable on both sides. So, and Koeman will be very well aware of that, and therefore will be able to exploit those talents, of course, of this fullback that we have. And I mean, we have such a plethora of choice in all positions, and particularly in the attacking place. Though, of course, the most spectacular position, perhaps on the pitch, is really where many eyes are set. And you mentioned him before, Yusuf Demir, a player who has exploded onto the scenes in absolutely no
signing
time.
At the moment.
You called him our fifth signing. I think it's a good call because he's come onto the scene looking like he's been playing at Barça since the youth ranks, and that is, of course, having arrived here just a couple of weeks ago, not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, but having this incredible presence, and not just that, but also being sought out by his teammates, similar to what we saw from Messi in his early days.
Definitely. We'll have to wish him the best of luck, and we'll see how he gets on in at least this next game, because he'll be with the squad on Wednesday against Red Bull,
Austria, of course.
Against Red Bull Salzburg. We'll be seeing that on Barça TV Plus. And right now on our screens, we've got footage of this morning at the Ciutat Esportiva Joan Gamper, what Emerson Royal calls victory, being able to train at the Barça facilities. This happened this morning. He was alongside his compatriot Felipe Coutinho, and of course El Kun Agüero, who is already practicing there at Ciutat Esportiva Joan Gamper every day now as well, trying to get ready and up to speed for the start of La Liga, which, Diego, starts in less than 2 weeks.
In no time. And what an opening header we have
here
Real Sociedad right here in the Camp Nou against Real Sociedad. Interesting enough, the last team that we played before we had to close the stadium for the public, a game that was won by Barça, just a penalty from Leo Messi. That game allowed us to pick up the 3 points, but what a way to start the season against Real Sociedad, led, of course, by Manuel Aguacil, a fantastic coach and a fantastic team that is, it's really going to put Barça to the test, because you mentioned the preseason, how these games can, of course, serve for the younger talents to gain some confidence, but it doesn't necessarily put the team to the test as much as Real Sociedad does in an opening league header.
Definitely. over the last 2 seasons, sorry, I interrupted. Over the last 2 or 3 seasons, I'd say, Real Sociedad have been a team that have made it very difficult for us here at Camp Nou. I remember that game you were mentioning, the 1-0 victory with a Messi goal from the penalty spot. There was a 2-1 win the previous season as well, with goals by Langley and Jordi Alba, and that was a game in which Barca had to grind it out. So they're a very uncomfortable team to play. We played them in the semi-finals of the Super Cup this season as well, and went to the penalty shootout. And then there was that great win at the Anoeta Stadium, 6-0. But I think that was an outlier in all of those games that we're talking about.
Yeah, that was a rare thumping, we could call it, I guess.
Yes.
Because this Real Sociedad side is certainly much more of a threat than what we saw on that day. As now we're seeing images again of the signing of the contract alongside of Joan Laporta. Of course, a huge moment for this player. A dream come true, as he said it in his interview here on Barça TV Plus. Couldn't wait for this day to come. Growing up, his reference point was Dani Alves, of course, a Barça and Brazil legend. And if he manages to get to that level, we'll be very, very happy with this signing indeed. Absolutely.
We'll celebrate in Dani Alves fashion, I would say. This happened a few minutes ago, what we're seeing right now. We saw footage before of the medical that he underwent this morning at Ciutat Esportiva. We saw the training, and this happened just a few seconds ago. After Diego interviewed him, we saw it on Barça TV Plus. Emerson has signed his contract, and he is down in the dressing rooms right now, getting ready to step on to this Camp Nou. Not for the first time, of course, because he's played here as a Real Betis player, but for the first time in a Football Club Barcelona jersey.
Exactly, and well, we can confirm that he's incredibly happy to be here. He is a happy person. Doesn't feel like I'm doing justice to the translation of feliz or emocionado.
It's the way he says it.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
The way he says it. And there's another thing that really struck me as well. As we were seeing right now on the screen, for those who've just joined, it will be E.Royal on the back of his shirt. It won't be Emerson. Royal is not his surname, but there's a story behind that. We've already told it, so scroll back if you want to know what it is. And I've lost what I was... Oh, no, yes. Something that really struck me from what he said was that there's a lot of suffering behind being here today. He's had... I'd say he has appreciation for his roots, but he's had a rough bringing up. Coming from the favelas.
In the favelas, of course,
he has that tattoo that you were mentioning before as well that says "From the favelas to the world."
Exactly.
That's always remembering his roots, but and appreciating what he has had to be, what he has had to go through to be able to achieve his dreams. But I like the attitude as well.
Absolutely.
The way he was talking about learning the game, listening to his coaches. We said before, I was laughing about, I can't remember if he was saying about Manuel Pellegrino or Tite or both. They were telling him, you need to concentrate.
Yes,
A bit absent-minded maybe in his early days as a Real Betis player or as a young player for Brazil, very eager to go forward and forget his defensive duties. I think that year playing under Manuel Pellegrini will have done him a lot of good, playing for a very competitive side. You talked about playing alongside a veteran like Joaquin. That will have done him a world of good. I mean, Joaquin is an eccentric player, but he knows his football.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't play until the age of 40 if you're all jokes.
No, exactly.
There's some serious work behind it. I think that obviously very few players make it to that later age as professionals, starting in La Liga games. And he'll have been able to learn a lot from the likes of him. He'll probably have been able to talk to former Barca players about the Barca experience, like Mar Bartra, like Cristian Tello. They've been teammates of his. He's been a teammate of Martin Montoya, playing ahead of him as well. And he's played alongside some quality players as well. El Panda, Borja Iglesias, Nabil Fekir as well. Sergio Canales. So I think those, we've mentioned it before, we've talked about it, those 2 years and a half playing for a very competitive Real Betis side will have done him the world of good. Yeah,
and I talked as well with him about the fact that he made himself so important for the teams that he played at so quickly, not just for Betis, but for the Brazilian national team as well. Of course, these are teams filled with talent, and in order to become such a fundamental pillar, you have to be not just a good player, have good talent, but be willing also to put in the work. And that's something certainly that Emerson has been doing over these years. And as he slowly but surely seems that he'll be making his entrance to the Camp Nou on the welcome mat that said "Salid y disfrutad."
Yes.
Come out and enjoy. Enjoy he will. And in fact, he even gave us a little teaser that we might even see him with his hair dyed in blue and red.
Yes,
something that
he likes the eccentricities. He likes the eccentricities.
But he enjoys these moments.
Well, we're seeing him right now getting ready to step on. We saw Sarah Salapor, our colleague from the digital team, with phone in hand, getting ready to get a video of those first steps of Emerson Royal onto the Camp Nou. I think I'm going to turn around here, Diego, and just see and witness this.
That unique moment.
That unique moment of our fourth signing this season, Emerson Royal.
There he is.
Stepping onto the pitch. The camera's following him. All the photographers' cameras click. There's the pool of journalists right to our right here. And there goes E. Royal, Emerson Royal, posing for the pictures here at Camp Nou for the first time as a Football Club Barcelona players. The wave to all of the group of press gathered here behind the benches. And a special moment indeed for this young 22-year-old Brazilian.
Oh, one of those unforgettable moments in the life of a football player. Not many can say that they, of course, played in the same shirt as so many Brazilian legends have. In the case of Football Club Barcelona.
Well, he's playing in a unique shirt, Diego. I don't think there's anything in the history of the club that resembles this one that we've got this season. But yeah, no, I do get your point. Well, President Joan Laporta, of course, as well, stepping onto the pitch alongside one of his advisors, Enrique Masip. And we'll see. Do we get juggling or not, Diego? I mean, he's Brazilian. I think he has it in him. It's in his blood.
Yeah.
It's in his blood. I think we'll get a few tricks here from Emerson Royal, as he continues to pose for his first picks as a Barca player.
Now he, of course, also not just shared dressing room with top players in the case of Brazil alongside of Neymar, and you mentioned all of these legendary players at the Betis team, but he's also had to face them. And I got to ask him about that, saying, well, from your chats with, for example, Manuel Pellegrini, and putting that special focus and attention on your defensive abilities, how did you approach games where you had to face the greatest dribblers in the league, such as Leo Messi? And he actually said that he would start studying tape around 2 days before the match.
That was a very interesting answer as well. That was a very interesting answer as well. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. He talked about his habits as well in terms of keeping a good medical condition, which allows him to be able to play the amount of games that he's played and start all of them. Most of them completed. I was saying before, 33 games in the 2019-2020 season. He started 32 of those and completed 29 of them. Last season, he played 34 games for Real Betis in La Liga, started all 34 of them and completed 32 of them. So he was an essential part of that Betis side. There he is posing with our president, Joan Laporta, as well. And I'll go back to what I was saying. There's a lot of work in terms of keeping his physical condition top-notch for this. He's going to head back to the dressing room, so no juggling.
No, I think they're calling him back.
Are they? Or are they not?
Or not, actually. I think it's,
he's
just the last few pictures.
Last few pictures with President Joan Laporta. We've seen in the other presentations that our president was accompanied by Vice President Rafael Yuste and Football Director Mateo Alemany. They're in Germany with the squad at the moment for that pre-season mini stage, as we were calling it. And so I'm assuming, from what we've been told, that the press conference that we're going to see in about, I'd say, 20 minutes after Emerson Royal gets changed, it will just be our president, Joan Laporta, and the player in question. I'm sure we'll get lots of questions for both the player and the president. And I was saying, Diego, no juggling, so that's Only 1 out of 4.
1 out of 4. What's going on these days? I'm going to blame it on social media.
I agree. I agree there. I agree there with you. Too much focus is put on silly little mistakes that happen during those moments. It puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on the players. They don't want to get made fun of, so why do it?
Yeah.
We're not going to judge them by being able to juggle the ball or not, and I'm sure they're all able to juggle it. It's just that sometimes maybe the wind turns, or maybe just gets a wrong touch of the ball.
Yeah, or a little bit of nerves, which also
exactly.
on such a day, you know, it's perfectly understandable that when all the lights, cameras are focused on you, you might have a little bit of jitters on your first day. You don't want to embarrass yourself, and well,
it's an unnecessary risk.
It's
unnecessary risk.
Unnecessary risk. But it does surprise me a little bit, seeing just again how strong this player is, not just physically but mentally as well. A player that is, I think, mentally very healthy, confronts difficult situations with a smile. In fact, also when I got to ask him about how he faces internal competition within a team, how he faces those types of challenges, he said, well, I don't really necessarily see it as a challenge. I see it more as being incredibly fortunate to even be put in that position. And I think that speaks volumes of, again, the maturity, mental maturity, again, of just this 22-year-old player.
He did speak very maturely, didn't he? I was thinking that as well as you were interviewing him. They were all very sound answers. And I don't think he was saying what sometimes you feel that players are saying what they're supposed to say. I think that he was genuine by the way he was speaking. I'll go back again to saying how he said he listened to his coaches, and I'm sure there's a little bit of anarchy there. I mean, it's a stereotype, but he's a Brazilian fullback. There has to be a bit of eccentricity. That's what makes him special as well.
Yes.
But I think there is a lot of hard work in behind there, and we'll get to see a player who's already had the experience to play in La Liga for a couple of seasons, and I think he's ready to start right from the beginning.
Absolutely.
I mean, he'll be competing for a starting spot in this squad, most definitely.
Well, all those players have got their work cut out for them, and it's what Ronald Koeman want to see, of course. High level of competition in training sessions, which in fact and I wanted to ask him about it if I had more time. He takes his practices very serious. He even is known to when he goes home and he's on the losing team of these practices within the games,
to sulk a little bit.
He's very upset. It upsets him very much. He's quite known to be doesn't take defeat lightly, put it that way. Even in practices, he wants to be on the winning side. In fact, so much so that he keeps score of the games that he's won and lost in practices.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I like that competitive edge.
Very much, very much so.
Definitely. Diego, what's new in these last couple of presentations is that the press conference is happening here at Camp Nou, here out on the Camp Nou turf.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, it's a beautiful setting. It doesn't get any better and more beautiful, of course, than the Camp Nou. The scenery is absolutely spectacular, and so I think it's good. With the first time we saw was with Memphis. Yeah. He was accompanied by his family and close friends. Of course, no fans in the stadium at the moment. That's still not allowed. Soon, hopefully, we cross our fingers, there will be fans once the Liga starts. But yeah, I think it's a perfect setting for a press conference.
It is. It's a beautiful setting.
And on top of that, we get to see it. We just have to turn around.
Exactly. So the Camp Nou is a beautiful setting for a lot of things. And if the weather conditions are good, if it's not too windy, because sometimes wind can get in the way, especially when there's microphones involved. But it's a beautiful scenery. But most important of all, it's a great stadium for live football. And we get that in a couple of weeks here. And hopefully, you said something before, and I kept it in the back of my head here, how in the pre-season games, when Rey Manay had to leave the pitch, because I think it was a concussion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Memphis came on, and it was what the fans were asking for. Yeah. And in this last year and a half, we haven't had what the fans are asking for, because they couldn't ask. They weren't at the stadiums. And having the fans cheering Memphis, Memphis, or EMERSON, or El Kun Agüero, or Eric García, it's just something that we really need to be able to witness again. We really need the fans to come back into football. We've seen in the Euros how important they are, how important they were supporting their teams. in victory.
It's vital.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's vital.
And it was great to see as well in the game against Stuttgart. Of course, the Mercedes-Benz Arena was actually filled with up to its maximum capacity that was allowed by the authorities. So 25,000 seats were filled, and it felt like a Champions League game.
Exactly.
The atmosphere was fantastic.
It was a friendly game, of course, but I think the fans have not been allowed to go to football for so long that they just appreciated it.
Exactly.
And there was even some booing towards some Barca players.
There was a lot. There was a lot of booing.
I think they even must have appreciated it, just to have something from the fans.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of booing was aimed at Memphis Depay. The reason for it, there was a little discussion between me and Bruno. Bruno thought it might have been because he complained that he didn't get a penalty call. I think it's maybe a little bit of the Holland-Germany rivalry that goes on there. But could have been both as well. But Memphis actually accepted or was receiving these boos with a smile on his face. So he must have been even happy to hear these jeers towards him. Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing right now what's happened earlier on here at the Camp Nou. We've got the footage here of how he signed his contract next to President Laporta.
Can you even imagine what the day must feel like for this guy? I mean, arriving here at Barça, having his first practice, the medical revision, now signing the contract, stepping onto the pitch.
No juggling.
So many emotions. Yeah, no juggling though. No juggling.
No juggling. We're waiting for the press conference, which will be him and President Joan Laporta answering some questions. Diego and I here will be doing the translating for you guys in English. And as we say, very special day for this 22-year-old who adds a little more youth to our team.
Yes.
Which is something that, I mean, sometimes I think, now we see Frankie de Jong as a veteran, for example.
At what, 24?
Exactly. There's no way he's a veteran.
Yeah.
And we have lots of players under 30, lots of players under 25, which is something that's going to be great for our future. I think that Ronald Koeman did an excellent job at developing these young players last season. We had them competing for La Liga right until the last 3 or 4 weeks. There was a moment in which Barca could have gone top of La Liga, and God knows what would have happened if we'd have beaten Granada on that day here at Camp Nou. But I was of the opinion back then, even with the Champions League defeats as well, that for young players it's good to go through defeat. I was saying that before. Dest, Mingueza, Araujo, Pedri. We'll see what the situation is with Ilaix Moriba, but he was a part of the team as well. Lots of young players going through, I think, the necessary hurt to get some fuel in them, to fuel a reaction, to feel that feeling of not wanting to feel that hurt anymore.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think those kind of trials and tribulations form part of the sport and form part of the development of any player, really. And I would agree with you 100%. I think if you prize these players at such a young age too early, then well, they might get they might lose that motivation to continue to hunt, to chase that feeling. Can we say? I mean,
exactly. You never know, because some players go through success very early and go. Messi, for example.
Yeah.
Messi had success very early, then had a couple of years in which the things didn't go very well. He was injured.
He didn't play in the final, of course.
Didn't play in the final in Paris. Then had a couple of rough years, but became an important player, and he's had a lot of success. Then we've had other players who need, as we say, there's I think I've mentioned this before. There's an interview on Barça TV Plus with Thierry Henry, who said in his first year that things didn't go well here at Barça, and that when they went to the Santiago Bernabeu and lost 4-1, he wanted to be there. He wanted to feel that hurt, and for him not to want it anymore. He wanted to go through that. So I think there's different paths for different players. The path of Emerson Royal, who we can see here in the dressing room before he came out onto Camp Nou. This new footage of him here wearing that E Royal Barca jersey with no number yet.
Not yet.
Numbers haven't been made official yet. We have to see. That will happen soon.
We will have to see. I mean, Memphis, for example, played with the number 9 in his first appearance, and then 11. As we're looking at these images now, not live, but new images from a little bit earlier ago of him on the Camp Nou field. This biggest stadium in Europe, the 3rd biggest stadium in the world, is now the home of Emerson Royal, the explosive 22-year-old Brazilian right back.
Must be impressive to come in here as a youngster, as a Brazilian who idolized Dani Alves, and be on the pitch. And once you're on it, you appreciate how big it is.
Yeah.
And he's obviously had the experience for Real Betis, but I think there's an added something, an added maybe pressure, maybe extra appreciation for everything when you put on the Barca jersey.
Motivation, for
motivation,
sure.
of course.
It's got to be motivation. We talked about, the hunt for titles and success, and at Barça, that hunt for titles and success is not necessarily guaranteed, but it is a requisite when you put on the Barça shirt. Of course, we expect this team year in, year out to be competing for the top titles, and that's what the players, of course, play for, and why they sign on to Football Club Barcelona, because they want that success and they want to achieve that type of, those milestones, of course, and winning titles such as La Liga, or esa copa tan linda, as Messi once called it, the Champions League trophy, which we hope we can soon welcome again.
Well,
in the Camp Nou.
Towards the end of this month, we'll know in which group we'll be competing, which teams we'll be facing.
The draw is,
I'd say it's towards the end of August. I don't know the exact date right now off the top of my head, but it always happens in the last week of August. We get the Champions League draw. We'll get to know who will be our opponents. That's always an exciting time. When you start to get riled up for the season, I always find it that the season starts with 2-3 games in La Liga, and then we get an international break. And that international break is actually a bit of a nuisance, because you get all riled up, you get all excited to watch the games, a couple of weeks, and then you have to stop. I would have the international break maybe before we start, and then just run off with La Liga and the start of the Champions League, but it's how it's done every season.
It's weird as well. I mean, can you imagine that there's a World Cup in a year and a half time? We just had the Euro Cup, and there's already the World Cup that is going to take place.
Feels strange. No, not even a year and a half. Oh no, of course, because it's winter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's winter.
Oh yeah. That's going to be an interesting season next year.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that goes. But let's focus on this one. We are here because today Barca have presented are presenting their fourth signing of the season, behind El Kun Agüero, behind Eric García, behind Memphis Depay. Now it's the turn for EMERSON Royal, and we'll be hearing his words here at the Camp Nou next to President Joan Laporta in just a few minutes. He's getting changed in the dressing room, back into his very dapper suit.
Hey. Very nice, very classy. Yep. I was asking similar to what Memphis was wearing on the day. I was asking I was asking Mai rather if she thought I could pull off such an attire. The answer was a resounding no.
I don't think neither of us could pull off the suit that Emerson was wearing today, nor the haircut.
Nor the haircut, no.
I don't think I would even dare to try out the haircut.
Listen, I'm determined to prove everybody wrong. Robert, I think that one day you and I should show up in a newsroom in the similar attire and see if we can get
the attire, maybe.
The haircut.
The haircut, I mean, it's just not my style. It looks great on Emerson. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I don't think it's my style. But anyway, yes, exciting times for this young 22-year-old Brazilian who, as we've mentioned before, has 2 years and a half of experience in La Liga. He played before for Atletico Mineiro.
What a 2 years and a half, yes.
And yes, do you want to go over the stats you were reading out before? We know about how many games he's played. He's been very important, played lots of minutes for Real Betis. He's been a starter for Quique Setién. He's been a starter for Rubi. He's been a starter for Manuel Pellegrini as well. But I think his improvement, especially in this last season, is more on the defensive side. And you had proof of that with those defensive stats.
Absolutely. I mean, just have a listen here. I'll just list off a few of them. He was #1, and this is in comparison with the other fullbacks in La Liga, of course. So he was #1 in fouls received, #2 in clearances, 4th in aerial battles won. He was 6th in intercepting rather the rival's attack, and 5th in total passes, ending up in shots per game, so in potential assists. So statistics that are not necessarily maybe as attention-grabbing as the goals and assists, of which he has also provided and scored plenty, particularly as a fullback. I remember a fantastic goal that he scored last season in the Copa del Rey match. Oh. It was just before they had to play Villarreal. Mutivera? Was it?
Oh, one of the, yeah, okay. It was not in La Liga, in Copa.
No,
okay,
it's in Copa del Rey. I
Okay.
mean, an absolute rocket, a missile that he scored from way outside of the box. So he's got all of those abilities. But yeah, as Robert mentioned, he had a specific work routine under Manuel Pellegrini when it came to his defensive efforts. And well, he's definitely picked up his level of concentration because, like he said himself, he said, you know, players like Leo Messi, these fantastic dribblers, can change the score, can change an outcome in just a split of a second if you're not properly concentrated. So, you know, these games really demand that you're at your, not just your best, but physically, of course, but mentally as well, that you're honed into the game.
Exactly,
yes.
you're prepared. And here's footage of what happened just a few minutes ago. We saw the signing of the contract. We saw him getting dressed at the dressing rooms at the Camp Nou, which is something that players always must enjoy for the very first time when they get the opportunity to go into the dressing room, see everything, see maybe where they'd like to sit, who they'd like to sit next to as well, and then of course the moment when he stepped on to Camp Nou here to pose for some pictures.
Do they get to choose that?
I don't. I wouldn't think that players who come in as new signings get to choose. I think they sit where they're put. I'd say that the captains definitely get to pick where they sit. I think
there's a pecking order there, isn't there?
There is.
A similar pecking order that we saw in the preseason between, I don't know if you got a chance to see that, between Gerard Piqué and Rey Manay in that game against Girona when...
the penalty.
The penalty, yes. Rey Manay was going to step up and take what probably would have been his fifth goal of the preseason, but in came captain Gerard Piqué and gently and friendly
said, no.
said, listen, youngster, there's a hierarchy here, there's a pecking order, and this goal, or this penalty rather, I'm going to be taken. And well, he was fortunate there.
A
little fortunate touch from the...
keeper got in my hand to it. But
exactly. But it did end up in the goal.
And then we saw that amazing Memphis Depay penalty as well, which obviously is a penalty, but as finishes go...
Very confident.
Very confident, well placed, very strong.
I would say in general, I mean, all the new signings are not showing any signs of nerves, really. You know, obviously we saw Eric García come to what was once his home and continues to be, but he will be used to the surrounding, to also the expectations and the pressure that come with wearing a Barça shirt. We saw Kun Agüero. Well, what can we say about him when it comes to experience and playing in the top flight around Europe, both in Spain and in the Premier League, of course, as well with his Argentine national side. Memphis, who is used to that kind of pressure, welcomes it as well. Very confident, and now as well with Emerson, another very confident player, very self-assured. So Koeman is not getting any, let's say insecure youngsters. No, these are all players that are very confident. As now we're going to have a look at some of the preseason games. This one against the second one against Girona.
This is when Memphis Depay made his debut. He had to come on for Rey Manay. There was the penalty you were making reference to earlier on, where Gerard Piqué stepped up and took the penalty. The keeper got a hand to it, but did end up going in. Gerard Piqué got his first goal of the preseason, wearing the captain's armband as well.
Fortunate at Piqué, knowing how fortunate it is. A new-looking Piqué, by the way. I think I was telling Andrea Orlandi that maybe he felt the pressure of being surrounded by youngsters. He got rid of the beard. Exactly.
He's looking very fresh in this preseason. Rey Manay got his goal before being replaced for a mild concussion. We didn't get to see the Memphis Depay goal because right now Emerson is back on Camp Nou, wearing, as we said, his very stylish suit. He's going to sit next to President Joan Laporta, and we're going to proceed to the press conference. Diego and I will be translating. Diego, you take Emerson, I'll take President Laporta.
Sounds good.
Benvinguts i benvingudes a l'acte de presentació del nou jugador del Barça, Emerson Royal, jugador brasiler, defensa de 22 anys, arriba al Barça després d'aquest estiu de disputar la Copa Amèrica i també després de 2 temporades i mitja jugant amb el Betis. Emerson, bienvenido al Barça. Te deseamos muchos éxitos con tu nueva camiseta. Volem donar també la benvinguda al president del Barça, Joan Laporta, que ens acompanya aquí també a l'escenari, acompanya el jugador. També donem la benvinguda als membres de la Junta Directiva que ens acompanyen avui, així com també als familiars del jugador, benvinguts. que acompanyen en aquest dia tan especial al jugador del Barça.
Welcoming
Bé, abans
his
de
family as
començar,
well,
anem a fer
of Emerson.
una fotografia con la camiseta del Barça.
As they'll pose one more time with the Barça shirt for pictures.
Te deseamos muchos éxitos con tu nueva camiseta, Emerson.
Wishing the player lots of success with the Barça shirt.
We share that wish of success for Emerson Royal, who's now
100%.
posing with the new kit that he'll be wearing, E.Royal on the back. We still don't know what number he'll be wearing. I'm expecting that will be revealed maybe next week after the Gamper Trophy, but sometimes it's even revealed earlier than that. So we'll have to see when the club decides to do that. But of course, La Liga is starting in just 15 days.
So anem a veure un vídeo de benvinguda on veurem jugades i fins i tot algun gol
be
del
privy
jugador
to
brasiler.
a video that Barça had prepared for the player.
Ara sí, donem pas al president, donem la paraula, Joan Laporta,
Now, a
president
few
del
words
Barça.
from President Joan Laporta.
Gràcies, Padrí,
Thank you
per
everyone
la
for being
presentació
here.
i per haver donat la benvinguda a
We're
Emerson
here
Royal,
welcoming Emerson Royal
als
today.
seus familiars, la seva mare, el seu
In front
pare,
of
la
his
seva
family,
germana, el seu
his
germà, el seu
parents,
nebot.
his
la
brothers and
seva
sisters, his nephews as well.
També gràcies als representants, a los representantes,
Thanks to his
porque habéis
agents
hecho un
and
gran
representatives as
trabajo,
well.
juntamente con los
work
profesionales
they've done.
del club, para que Emerson Royal
And the
estuviera en el
representatives
Barça.
of the club who've worked
I
for
també
Emerson
gràcies
to be here
companys de
today
Junta
as a
Directiva
Barça
i
player.
membres del gabinet de presidència per fet de ser aquí en aquesta presentació tan important que
This is an important presentation.
penso que l'Emerson ens ha d'ajudar molt, l'Emerson
I think
Royal ens
that
ha d'ajudar molt a
Emerson has to help us a
construir
lot
aquest projecte esportiu
to build
que
this
tenim
project
moltes ganes de veure
that we want to build a winning project.
Jo ara veient el vídeo m'he recordat de grans jugadors brasileros que hem
Watching that
tingut
video reminded me
al
of
Barça,
great Brazilian players who have
que
played
han
for
jugat
Football Club
a la teva
Barcelona,
posició de lateral dret, com ha estat
players who have played in that right
Belletti,
fullback
com ha
position,
estat Dani Alves.
Belletti,
Jo crec que
Dani
ha de ser
Alves.
una referència per tu, Emerson Royal.
and I know that he's a
Pensa
reference
que
for you,
és
Emerson.
una posició molt important per al
It's a very
nostre
important
sistema
position on the pitch.
i sempre que hem tingut doncs, un lateral polivalent, fort,
And whenever we've had
sempre ens ha anat bé.
hard-working
I per tant esperem
fullback,
que tinguis molts èxits al Barça.
things have
Ja
gone
ho ha
well
dit,
for Barça, so we hope
Adri,
you to have great
un jugador
success.
brasileño que està cedit al Betis, que doncs l'hem recuperat.
He was on loan
amb
at
una
Betis. We
bona feina
have
de
brought him
tots els
back here.
professionals que han treballat aquí al club i els que representaven
Thanks to the great
a
work of the
l'Emerson Royal.
professionals who work here at the club.
Té una clàusula, perquè sí que m'ho preguntaran, d'unes clàusula de 300 milions.
His
És un
release
jugador
clause
que esperem
is
que
300
estigui
million,
molts anys aquí
and we
al
hope he
Barça
can
i que
be
podem
here
gaudir
at Barça
del
with
seu
us
futbol.
for many more
Per
years.
tant, benvindo. És un plaer
Therefore,
poder ser avui aquí en aquesta
welcome. It's a
presentació.
pleasure to be here with you
Perquè,
today.
a més, sé que doncs, li hem parlat a l'Emerson Royal i a la seva família, als seus representants,
And
de
I've
que
been
ve
able
un
to
club
talk to
que
Emerson
és més
and his
que un club.
family,
I això doncs,
and they
no és
appreciate that
només
this
un
is more than a
eslògan, com
club.
he dit abans, sinó que és una declaració de principis.
And
I és més que un club,
it's a
perquè som
declaration
un
of
club
principles.
català obert al món, que ens
It's a
agrada
Catalan
doncs,
club which is
promoure
open
la
to the
nostra
world.
manera de viure, la nostra llengua, la nostra cultura,
And
la
there's
nostra,
a way of living,
les
our
nostres
culture,
institucions.
the way
I
we
això, doncs, espero i estic convençut de que
understand
us
life here.
integrareu bé, en un breu període de temps i veureu que amb aquest Barça global que ens representa
you'll see
al Brasil i a molts
that
països del món,
in this new Barça that we're building,
podreu passar-vos-ho molt bé. Es
you'll be
tracta
able
també,
to have
Emerson, de que,
great fun.
a part de mostrar el teu gran talent futbolístic,
And we also
que
look
ho
forward
diuen
to
tots els
you
professionals del futbol
showing
amb els
us
que hem
that great
parlat,
talent that you have.
que també t'ho passis bé aquí, no? I estic
We
segur
hope
doncs, que
also that you
has
have
vingut
great
també
fun
a
here,
aconseguir molts
that
èxits.
you have a
i
good
passar-t'ho
time.
bé.
We
Gràcies.
hope to have a lot of success. Thank you for being here.
Després d'aquest aplaudiment a l'Emerson, podem començar la roda de premsa.
So we're going to start the press conference now.
Emerson, si quieres antes decir unas palabras.
Bueno, yo quiero decir que para mí es un placer estar
For me,
aquí en
it's a
Barcelona.
great pleasure to be here
Presidente,
in
muchas gracias
Barcelona.
por las palabras.
Thank you, President, for your kind words.
Yo siempre vengo diciendo eso, que tenía un sueño de estar aquí
I
en
always said
Barcelona.
my dream was to play here for Barça.
Hago un compromiso no solo contigo, con todos.
And
de que
I want to make a
todos
promise
los días
to
que
not
yo entre en campo,
not just
yo
you,
voy
but
a hacer mi
everyone.
mejor, porque
On the pitch,
yo sé
I promise
cuán
to give it
difícil
my
es estar
best.
aquí.
I
Entonces,
know
yo
how
trabajé
difficult
mucho
it
para
is
estar
to
aquí
be here,
y yo voy a aprovechar la oportunidad de la mejor
and I'm
manera
going to
posible.
take advantage of the
Trabajo no va a
opportunities that
faltar,
are given to me.
puede faltar cosas,
My
victoria, eso
work
nosotros
rate
no podemos controlar. Tenemos
won't
días
fail me.
buenos y días malos,
There
pero,
might be outside
el trabajo
circumstances
es un compromiso que
that
tengo
influence
con
my performance, but my
vosotros.
work rate
Entonces,
will be the
esa palabra
best.
yo quiero dejar aquí a todos
So
los
I
aficionados,
just wanted to make that clear
los representantes del
to
club,
everybody
todas las
present here
personas que
today and the
trabajan aquí.
fans at
Es un
home.
compromiso mío con vosotros, que todos los días que yo entrare dentro del campo, yo voy a hacer
I
mi
will
mejor.
give it my all on the
Muchas
field.
gracias, sí señor. Muy bien. La cultura del trabajo importante. Una salutació als mitjans de comunicació que sou aquí. Ja sabeu per què som aquí. Estamos aquí por razones de COVID.
We'd like to say hello to all the members of the press who are here and remind you that we're here for the presentation of Emerson Royal.
Del Estadio del Fútbol Club Barcelona. Pero bueno, yo creo que si vemos que las condiciones técnicas son buenas, aquí las presentaciones
conditions are good.
Que nos gustan mucho como quedan. Es el
It's
campo,
a place that we like to be.
Sois los
This, of course, is in
jugadores,
reference
todo
to
queda muy próximo a las
not
gradas.
being in the press
Estas
room
gradas
today.
estoy seguro que estarían llenas de aficionados en condiciones normales.
And in normal circumstances, of course, the stands would be filled with fans.
Breve periodo de tiempo, ya las verás.
And we hope that in a very brief period of time, they'll be here. And
Hola,
having said that, let's start the press conference.
Bienvenido al Barça, Ángels Prieto de Barça TV. Tú hablabas del compromiso
You talked
con el
about
club,
your
pero yo
commitment
quería
to the
saber,
club.
desde que en el 2019 se llega a un acuerdo
I
entre el
wanted to know
Atlético Mineiro y el
the
Barça y el
agreement
Betis,
that was
¿cuánto
reached in
has esperado
2019
este
with Atlético
momento?
Mineiro
¿Cuánto has
and
esperado
Barça.
llegar
How
a
long
lucir la
were you
camiseta del
waiting
Barça y pisar este césped como jugador
for
del
this
Fútbol
moment to
Club
come
Barcelona?
to tread the pitch as a Barça player?
Para mí es un orgullo estar aquí.
Well, I'm immensely proud
por todo,
to be here
por
today.
el trabajo que empieza desde de los 9 años.
It's
Entonces pasar
work that I've been putting
por
in
Atlético
since
Mineiro, que es
the
un
age of
equipo muy
9.
grande en Brasil, que me ayudó muchísimo para estar aquí. Y luego venir al Betis, que cambia mucho
And going to Betis,
el fútbol, porque tú no es lo mismo jugar el
Of
fútbol
course,
español y el fútbol brasileño. Te
it was
exige mucho más aquí.
a bit difficult
Y
and
luego
different because Betis
ser fichado
practice
por
a
el
different
Barcelona,
style
que
of
es
football than
más una vez
what I played in Brazil.
que es un sueño. Entonces,
And
para mí es
being
un
here at
orgullo muy
Barça
grande.
for me is an absolute dream, and I'm incredibly proud.
And we see the president there whispering something to Emerson Royal, which drew a smile.
I missed that. Did
I
you
missed
hear
that. Sorry, I was talking. I missed it.
Still whispers going on.
Bona tarda. President, soc Jordi Grau de TV3.
Good afternoon to the president.
Ara que parlava de projecte esportiu,
Talking about the
unes paraules que va dir
sporting
cap a final
project,
de maig, on va ser molt contundent explicant que sabia que
I
la
want to
Constitució que es
remember
construiria un nou projecte.
words that were said at the end of May, talking about the end of a cycle, building a new project.
El treball està en procés, o si
Is work still in process, or are the difficulties that the club are finding making it difficult to build that new project?
Bé, crec que és possible. El
I think it's possible.
al cap a finals de maig, sí que ens hem trobat uns
To do what we said at the end of May.
importants, però encara tenim temps
We still
per
have
fer-ho
time.
possible.
We still have time to make it possible.
Jo soc optimista de que
I'm
tot
optimistic.
està anant força bé.
Things are going
I de
fairly
moment,
well,
Doncs mira, amb les incorporacions que hem fet,
and the signings we've made up until now,
del planter,
and the players who have come
penso
up
que s'està
from
fent un
our
equip
youth
molt
teams
competitiu. Avui tenim un exemple
help us build a
de portar
competitive
l'Emerson
team.
Royal.
Today we're here presenting Emerson Royal,
i per fer-la més
which will help
competitiva,
us
perquè ja
strengthen
tenim
our
uns
defense.
defenses d'un gran talent,
We
però
have defenders of
incorporem
great talent,
també més talent per
and
que sigui més
we've added more
competitiva.
talent.
I bé, al mig camp, la veritat és que vam poder veure un
In midfield,
primer partit de
we've been able
pretemporada,
to
jo crec que
see
força
some good
il·lusionant
games
en quant
in the
al
preseason
talent que tenim. I bé,
one
s'han
in the
d'anar
first game,
fent alguna
which
incorporació més. Sí, sí,
made us very
encara és
exciting
possible,
with all the young talent.
Jordi.
And
Hola, la
that's the
meva
way we're
pregunta
going
és
at the
pel
moment.
president Joan Laporta, Marta Ramon, de RAC1.
Another question for President Laporta.
Messi fa un mes que està sense contracte. Vostè, a hores d'ara, pot
This is about
garantir
Messi,
que aquest
a month
diumenge,
without a
el dia de la
contract.
presentació de l'equip al Gamper, Messi serà i que tot s'haurà resolt?
Will Messi be with the team at the Gamper tournament on
I
Sunday?
encara no està resolt
We're
del
working
tot,
on it,
però
and
progressa
issues haven't
bé.
been resolved,
Progressa bé
but
i amb la
things
línia que
are
tots
progressing well.
Sempre hem pensat. Pensa que vam dir que faríem tot el possible dins de
We
les
said we'd do
possibilitats del
everything
Barça
possible
per tenir
within
a
Barca's
Leo Messi, que
possibilities.
Leo Messi continués al Barça.
for Messi to continue
Estem
at
en aquest
Barca,
procés. La
and we're
veritat
in
és
that
que
process.
segueixo veient moltes possibilitats, sobretot
I
perquè
continue to see
tenim doncs, un jugador
high
com és el
chances of
Leo
that happening,
que vol continuar al Barça i per tant
and
hem
he wants to stay at
d'aconseguir
Barca,
que continuï.
so we need to make it happen.
Hola, presidente, ¿qué tal? Bueno, Emerson, bienvenido. Mi pregunta es para el
Welcome to
presidente. Soy
Emerson.
Santiago Valle, de la cadena SER. El otro día, en la presentación de Memphis, dijo
other day
que
in the presentation of Memphis, the
los nuevos
president
fichajes
said
ya se podían inscribir. No
that
sé si se
the new
ratifica
signings
en
can
esa
be
afirmación que
inscribed
pasó un poco por alto.
as new Barca
Si
players.
estamos en una situación en que ya se puede inscribir en la liga
Can
los
that
nuevos
happen?
fichajes, y si
Can
también es la
we
situación de Leo Messi,
inscribe
¿cómo está eso?
these
Si
new
estáis que arreglar
signings
todavía algo
to play in La Liga,
de la masa salarial para poder inscribir
or
a Leo
does
Messi.
the
Gracias.
salary mass need to be reduced still?
Bueno, los jugadores que estamos incorporando
The players that we're signing
bajo los parámetros del fair play financiero que tenemos,
within the
y tal
parameters
como lo
of the
entendemos nosotros,
financial fair
se pueden
play
inscribir todos.
can be inscribed.
A partir de ahí querríamos,
From
si
there,
es posible, más flexibilidad por parte de
we
la
would
Liga,
like more flexibility
tal y como han
from
hecho
La
otras
Liga,
ligas del continente, para
like
que
other leagues from the continent have done.
haya, pues, digamos, más fair play financiero, más
for us to
más
be able to be within
posibilidades de
the
incorporar
financial fair play
algún fichaje
rules
más.
and be able to
El
sign
tema de Leo, insisto,
a few more
progresa
players.
como debe progresar.
And regarding Leo,
veo que va bien y
things are going well.
estamos intentando resolver cuestiones
We're trying
que
to
son
resolve the
importantes
issues
para
that need
ambas
to be
partes.
resolved. They're important, of course, but we're on it.
Buenas tardes, Víctor Navarro de la cadena COPE. Bienvenido, Emerson. Mi pregunta es para el presidente del Barça, Joan Laporta.
Another question for
Acaba de
President
hablar de lo
Laporta.
del fair play financiero. El otro día el
Now that we're
presidente del
talking about
Getafe, Ángel
financial
Torres, dijo que la
fair
liga debería
play,
ser más laxa para que el mayor activo de esta competición
Getafe's
se
President
quedara
Ángel
aquí.
Torres said
Usted,
that La Liga
agradece estas palabras y
should
pide
be
o
more
no, a otros
allowing
presidentes
to clubs
de equipos
would,
de la liga
with more
que se
flexibility.
muestren
Do you
públicamente a favor
think
de
those
esto para
words
que Messi se quede en la liga. Gracias.
help Barca's cause for
A
Messi
ver,
to stay in La Liga?
Yo lo que hago es compartir las palabras y agradecer las palabras del presidente.
I would like to share those words and, of course, thank him for those words.
Y le agradezco el comentario. Lo que no me
I
atrevo
would like
a
to thank
pedir
that comment,
al
of
resto de
course.
presidentes que es lo que tienen que hacer.
But we
Yo
can't
creo
tell
que
what the rest of the
todos
presidents
queremos
what they
a
have to do,
Leo
of
Messi
course.
en la Liga,
We all want Messi to be in La
sea del
Liga
equipo que sea, porque es un jugador de referencia mundial, es el mejor
he's
jugador del mundo y tenerlo en la Liga
worldwide
pues
reference.
siempre ayuda.
And having him in La
promover
Liga always helps.
por todo el mundo.
to be able to
Buenas tardes, Emerson.
sell the La Liga
Germán Bona,
project
de
all over the world.
Te quería preguntar por Messi porque, bueno, siempre que has jugado con él, pues ha
Another
ganado
question
el
about
Barça,
Messi,
ha ganado la selección
but this one's for
de
Emerson.
Argentina. ¿Qué significará para ti jugar con él? Y si en la final de la Copa América tuviste oportunidad de hablar con Leo.
Bueno, jugar contra el Messi si él está bien es imposible, porque es un jugador que es el mejor jugador del mundo. Y es un
He's the best
jugador
player in
que
the world.
tiene una facilidad de hacer las cosas, entonces
He's got incredible
si se
ease
concentra
at making
un minuto,
difficult
puede
things
hacer
look
muchísimo
easy.
daño.
He
Y
can
sí,
hurt his
la verdad
rivals
que
a lot.
Contra Messi, infelizmente perdemos.
So yes,
En la
I
selección
would love to
también,
play with him.
perdemos la final de la Copa América.
We lost the final of the Copa America against him. It was a very level match. So I was quite sad about the loss, but I'm happy for Messi because he deserves to win that cup.
Sí, Ferran Martínez, de Mundo Deportivo. Mi pregunta es para Emerson. El presidente te ha comparado hoy con
The president has compared you with Belletti and Dani Alves,
de este club. No sé si has podido
with massive players for this club.
si te han dado algún consejo.
Have you managed to speak to them, and if so, have they given you any advice?
Muchísimas gracias. Bueno, como ha dicho el presidente, que
well, like the president said, there are players that made history here.
Jugadores que,
there are players, above all, Dani Alves, who was an idol of mine. He's a player who has the most titles in world football. And yes, I did speak to him. And he told me in order to be successful here, to keep working like I have been doing. And it's been great advice.
Llegas a una posición donde hay Serginho Dest, Sergio Roberto puede jugar allí, Mingueza.
Serginho Dest, Mingueza, players who are able to play in your position and right back. Will you speak with the manager to see what he expects from you? Yeah, they're all players that have got great qualities. And with respect to their players, if I'm here at Barça, it's because they have the best players, and I'm here to do my job. The same way that they arrived here. I, of course, respect my teammates, but I'm, of course, here to win and fight for my position.
Sí, hola, president, aquí. Més a la dreta. Martí Molina, Diari Ara. Li volia preguntar per una renovació que està encallada, que és la d'Ilaix. No sé si ens pot donar algun detall de com estan anant les coses i fins a quin punt és sostenible aquest pols, d'alguna manera que estan mantenint el club i el jugador, o el club i els seus representants, sense
how are those negotiations with their representatives going?
Com teòricament per la seva qualitat es mereixeria.
Bé, el cas de l'Ilaix, nosaltres intentarem que aquest cas no es repeteixi més.
In the case of Elias, we're going to try to have the situation not happen again. A player with a year remaining in his contract who doesn't want to renew it. It's a situation that we can't accept. And we need to act on it. We need to spread our message on what our decisions are going to be in terms of youth players. He's a great player. But if he doesn't want to renew his contract, he knows he has other options. But we don't want players who we've helped grow at home to work against the club. We won't allow it. Of course, it's sad for us. He's a player who has had his opportunities to prove his quality. But our priority is the club. And they can't compete with us in that way. They can't dare us in that way. And I hope there's a period of reflection with the player and the people who represent him, because we don't like a situation like this with such a young player. But we can't allow we can't allow it to happen in his last year of contract, and we can't allow him either to leave after having helped him develop and grow free of charge at the end of his contract. Whoever wants to leave can leave. And it's a shame that is the situation right now.
Presi, ¿qué tal? Aquí Alejandro Segura en directo para Radio Marca.
Another question for the president.
Emerson, bienvenido. Ha estado usted unos días en Alemania con el equipo, le hemos visto con los jugadores, con el cuerpo técnico.
You've been with the team in Germany, with the team, with the technical staff. What is the situation like at the moment? How? What is the vibe around the team? There's a lot of team spirit. Our coach is very motivated. he can see that the team
tenemos un
is
ejemplo
more
más, como he dicho, la
compensated
incorporación de Emerson Royal también
as time goes by. Today is an example with the signing of Emerson Royal. He brings more competence in that position and talent, of course.
Muy buen ambiente.
And there was a great atmosphere around the team.
Con algunos jugadores en una fase de llegar a
with some players, we need to reach agreements, and I want to thank them all because they've shown me that they want this season to be successful, and they've prioritized the club over their personal interests. I've talked to the captains. I've talked to most of our players. And of course, the fact that there are young players who are coming up with great talent and great intensity and great passion also helps. And they are mentoring those young players, giving them great advice. I've really liked the intensity in play as well.
Esa intensidad de presionar para recuperar el
balón.
We're
putting pressure on teams. We're winning the ball back quickly. We want to play an attractive style of football. Our signings will help us do that. And all of the players who are still competing away in the Olympics, with Pedri and Mingueza there, of course, will help us make that step forward. There's a great atmosphere around the team. Ronald is a player, as a person, rather, who likes to talk, and he's got them all very motivated.
Hola, bones. Aquí, Adrià Soldavila de Goal. L'altre dia, la presentació de Memphis Depay
the other day, at the presentation of Memphis Depay,
va dir que estan oberts a escoltar propostes per Griezmann, que tot s'ha d'escoltar i tot s'ha de valorar.
You said that the club is open to listen to offers for Griezmann, that everything has to be contemplated. Has there been any news in that sense? And does the player have to leave in terms of the financial fair play situation?
Mentre no tinguem més fair play, no podrem fer més incorporacions, evidentment. Incorporacions també amb unes condicions
if we don't have more financial fair play flexibility, we can't sign more players.
Amb una posició forta per fer segons quines inversions. La força del Barça ens dona molta capacitat de fer les incorporacions que s'hagin de fer.
And we'll make the signings that we have to make.
El Griezmann té contents l'entrenador, l'estaf tècnic,
Griezmann is a player who's got his coaches very happy at the moment. They're very happy with him.
Contra l'Stuttgart va lluitar com el que més.
In the game against Stuttgart, he fought
és una situació que
and played a great game.
Perquè s'havia produït en el mercat in per ell.
In the market, there's obvious interest for him.
Això segueix estant igual en el mateix punt en el que estava.
But the situation is the same as we talked about the last day.
Finalment, doncs, el mercat nos dona una situació en la que
if there isn't an opportunity in the market which makes the club and him happy, he has a contract with Barça. So we have to respect contracts.
¿Qué tal? Hola Emerson, bienvenido. David Bernabé, Deportes 4. Mi pregunta es para el presidente Laporta.
Another question for
Son
President
dos
Laporta.
muy rápidas. Antes hablaba del escenario del Camp Nou. Y con todo el respeto para Emerson, imagínese que esta rueda de prensa es con Messi sentado en esa silla. ¿Usted concilia bien el sueño cada noche pensando en que esta situación no acabe produciéndose? Esa una, y la otra,
Messi,
si no hubiera esperado como presidente, lo digo porque muchos socios se lo esperaban, ¿no? Hasta el momento no se ha producido. Un gesto de Leo, lo mismo que usted ha dicho, sin acabar de cerrar el contrato, viene diciendo desde hace meses, él también hubiera dicho lo mismo,
any
que quiere
gesture from Messi?
quedarse y que ve con buenos
Would you
ojos
like that to
la posibilidad de
happen?
seguir en el campo.
Would you like him to say something about the situation?
Bueno, yo sé que Leo quiere quedarse y ya valora
I know that Leo wants to stay.
hecho. Que el
And he
mejor
wants it to
jugador
be
del
done.
mundo, pues su prioridad sea el quedarse o continuar en el
And the
Barça.
best player in the world wants
Y
to
por
stay
lo
at Barça.
tanto, esto es de agradecer porque lo pone
So I thank him for that.
bien encaminado. Y
And it's
respecto
all
a mis
in good
sueños, yo tengo
And regarding my
cada
dreams,
noche unos dulces sueños cuando pienso en Leo Messi.
I have sweet
En ese
dreams
sentido,
dreaming about Messi.
bien, dulces sueños.
Sweet
Espero que
dreams.
continúen.
Anem a fer la darrera pregunta en portuguès, sisplau.
Oi, Emerson.
The last question will be in
Brasil.
Portuguese.
Foi muito do sonho de estar aqui no Barcelona, talvez até por uma identificação que você foi criando ao longo do tempo, inclusive por jogadores brasileiros que estiveram aqui. Então, queria saber o que representa especificamente estar hoje aqui no Camp Nou, estar vestindo a camisa do Barça.
What does it mean to be here at Camp Nou with all the great Brazilian players who have played here before?
Boa tarde para você também, irmão. É um prazer estar falando com você mais uma vez. Para mim é um sonho.
It's a great pleasure and it's a
de
dream.
muita gente, né? Da minha família, dos meus amigos.
And it's thanks to many
de
people,
jogadores que
my family, my friends, players who I've played
queriam
with.
jogar futebol e não conseguiram. Queria ser um jogador de futebol
Players who
e não
wanted to
conseguiram
play
chegar.
football
Então, é um sonho
and
de todo jogador estar
didn't
onde
achieve
eu
their
estou
dream.
hoje. Então, eu valorizo muito isso e dizer que mais uma vez que eu vou fazer o meu melhor. E
I'm going to do my best here.
Realizado, né? Que hoje eu posso colocar a
Today
cabeça
is
no
a dream come
travesseiro
true.
e dizer que eu realizei o meu sonho.
Qué coisa mais linda, ¿eh? Muito bonito, muito bonito.
And there's President Laporta with his Portuguese efforts as well.
Entendiste?
Tudo.
Muito bé. President, si vol dir algunes paraules més per tancar l'acte d'avui.
Solo agradecerte que hayas
Once again, I'd like to
cumplido
thank
tu
you
objetivo y tu sueño de venir
for
a jugar al
achieving your
Barça.
dream.
Para nosotros es un gran honor.
To be here at Barça. It's a great honor for us.
desearte los máximos éxitos posibles.
And we want to wish you all the success in the world.
La verdad es que aparte de tu gran talento también se te ve una
Apart from
persona
your
excelente y
great talent,
para nosotros
we
es muy
can appreciate
importante
that
el
you're
espíritu del equipo, el
a
sentido
great
de la
human being.
responsabilidad, el compromiso que decías
Talking about
del
team
trabajo.
spirit,
Y
hard work,
el respeto por los
responsibility,
rivales, todo esto
respect for your
ha de ser
opponents.
características de un jugador del Fútbol Club Barcelona y tú las
Those are all
reúnes. Emerson
characteristics
Royal.
of a Football Club Barcelona player.
Yo creo
And welcome.
que sea una frase en catalán que
try some words in Catalan.
Muito feliz de estar
very happy
a Barcelona.
to be here at Barça.
And he receives the round of applause for the effort.
No estaba preparado. Dice, ¿no?
President Laporta saying he wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
Exceeding expectations already.
Y muchísimas gracias otra vez, presidente, por la confianza.
Thank you again, President Laporta, for the confidence.
Y vuelvo a decir que voy a hacer mi mejor aquí.
And again, I insist that I will
Muchas gracias, muy obrigado.
give it my all.
Y gracias a la familia por acompañarlo, y a los representantes.
Another thanks to the
Emerson,
family.
i moltes gràcies a tots
And
per estar
this is going to come
avui
to an
aquí.
end here
Donem per
at
finalitzat
Camp Nou. Diego, the words of President Joan Laporta, addressing several issues, and of course the words of Emerson Royal. The two of them having the time of their life, by the way. We saw a little bit of whispering, a little bit of chit-chat going on there.
Well, we know that already from President Joan Laporta.
Yes.
Of course, he likes these kind of moments and feels very comfortable in
the
front of the
spotlight.
cameras.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Emerson is no different in that sense. So the two have been hitting it off in this press conference. A press conference that was, maybe had more questions with other topics.
Other
as opposed
topics,
to
we've talked about Messi. The president said that it's all going in its due course. We're hoping for a happy resolution shortly, but we don't know an exact date for when that might be. There have been a couple of other issues, the situations of Ilaix Moriba and Antoine Griezmann, and the president saying that there's great atmosphere around the team, great competitiveness. They want to build a winning project. And regarding that winning project, Diego, we have another game on Barça TV Plus on Wednesday.
That's right. It's going to be a Red Bull Salzburg against Barça over in Austria, and it's going to be a great opportunity for you, of course, to see the team live in the flesh, playing exclusively on Barça TV Plus. And subsequent to that, it's the Joan Gamper Trophy, that historic doubleheader for the men's and women's team who face La Vecchia Señora in Juventus. That will take place on August 8th, and a week after that, it's La Liga time, folks. It's Real Sociedad over here in the Camp Nou.
It's action time now here in the month of August. Lots of stuff happening. We'll see the team live, as you say, on Wednesday and on Sunday. Then the start of La Liga. There'll be the Champions League draw at the end of the month.
Yep.
We might see new players coming in. We might not see new players coming in. But at the moment, Emerson Royal, we've seen him today sign his new contract, wearing the Barça shirt for the first time and addressing the questions of the press here at the Camp Nou. He is the fourth signing for the squad this season, behind El Kun Agüero, Eric García and Memphis Depay. Emerson Royal joining the squad. We saw him training as well today at the Joan Gamper facilities. he is now officially a Football Club Barcelona player, and we wish him the best of luck.
Absolutely, and well, that is it from us here on Barça TV Plus. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that you enjoyed another live presentation exclusively right here on Barça TV Plus. And of course, stay tuned to all of the content, more updates on this space right here on Barça TV Plus, your home for all of your Barça content.